Hi there, I'm Merrill. I'm a lifelong learner and e-commerce professional, and today I'm going on teaching a lesson on AI. A lot of us have heard about AI and the things that are going on with ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and all the different AIs that are available out there. Most people, I think, have just gone and typed in, "Hey, help me rewrite this paragraph," or "Please rewrite this um, thing for me," or maybe you cheated on your homework or whatever it is to get something through. You hear a lot in like social media of like, "Oh, I built this app and I did this and AI did that for me," and it's like fully automated. And I kept hearing about these things and I was like, I want to figure this out for myself. There's got to be more to it than what I'm doing with just being able to say, "Hey, I went and typed in, 'Hey, ChatGPT, help me rewrite this e-commerce title,' or whatever it is." So a while ago, I kind of went in and started playing with Google Antigravity. Google Antigravity is their version of kind of like a Claude code. You can where it kind of does the agentic workflows and does everything for you. So you can go to Google, download it. It's currently free. Antigravity 2.0. They recently just split from 1.0, split the things down into the Antigravity, the IDE. So if you're a coder, you want to be able to see the code that's been done and edit it yourself, you can download the IDE in parallel to be able to get the stuff for yourself. Right now, on most of this project, I think I'm just going to do it in Antigravity and not even bother opening the IDE. They are separate applications. They also have a CLI to be able to do things from the command line interface if you want to be able to integrate your piece into that. So once you've downloaded Antigravity and open it up, you need to create a project. So we're going to go ahead and say File, Create Project. I created a folder for this. So for this exercise, I wanted to build a white noise app. So I recently came to the conclusion after doing this and seeing how simple it was like, I'm never paying for a simple app again. This is a good example of one that I want to build for myself. I've downloaded several white noise apps over the years. They're always filled with ads or paywalls or annoying stuff when it's something really simple, such as just generating white noise for me. So we're going to go ahead and use that. In building any app or building anything, it's like the planning phase is about the most important part of trying to figure out what it is that you actually want, what does the infrastructure need to be. But also for this, you don't really need to be a strong coder or have a strong understanding. It does help if you understand a little bit of like how coding works, but it's definitely not required by any stretch of the imagination. So the first thing we're going to do is say, type in our prompts here, right? We're going to say, I want to build a white noise app for Android. And, you could do it with iOS too, but iOS has a lot more stuff for deploying or doing like beta testing of your own stuff. So it's a little bit harder if you have Apple and you want to do it that direction. You have to have a Mac and you have to sometimes have a developer license and other things like that to actually deploy it and run it on your stuff. So for this, and I have Android, so we're going to go ahead and do it here. I want to first display this app as a web application for mockups and getting the UX, UI interface right. When it's done, I will port it into Android Studio to run on my phone. I can, let's see, to generate an app, we're going to need several things, and maybe we just ask it to help us. What requirements do we need, and what things do you need from us to make the outline? let's build a plan. Here is where you would do several different things. Like if you wanted to say this is something you wanted to try to sell, I'm trying to say that I just want to do it for myself. I want it to be simple. I actually just wanted to live on my phone. I'm not going to try to build this into something. But if you wanted to type in, add a login layer and add a paywall, this is where you'd want to outline that. I'm going to tell it, will live on my phone. No logins or paywalls required. I think that'd be it. So let's just start there and see what it does. So here, it's going to go through and start building a bunch of this stuff for us. I remember the first time I did this, was a little bit blown away by all of the different things that it kind of just started doing for us. I've now built a couple little other projects, and this whole thinking through phase is pretty impressive on what the thing will do. So it always starts out with this implementation plan, which is really critical in being able to do that. So it puts it here, you click on it, pulls up, you have this little ribbon up here that allows you to start looking through. So we have our white noise map, our mockup plan. We want to build a web application for doing this. The app will be free, local to the device, no logins or paywalls. Review the questions below. Important, since we're focusing on a premium, relaxing UX UI, we should finalize the core features before I design the divine interface. Let me know your thoughts on the things below. So then we go through audio mixing versus single track. Do you want players to use one sound at a time, or do you want them to be able to mix together? I'm going to say, so here I just like to do these comments because then I can tell the AI to go review them later and do that. So I'm going to say, I just want a single track with volume. Comment, what sound should we include? Let's do rain, white noise, pink noise, brown noise, and watch ticking. Do we need a sleep timer? Stop playing. No. Prefer purely dark aesthetics for night or something dynamic? Minimalistic with a dark theme. Plan to build Vite, React, pure CSS, or Alpha Rich things. Does that sound good? Sounds good. Once the comments or the requirements are finalized, the implementation will go like this. So make the web app provide design there, index CSS. Confirming, I just want to confirm that this can be pushed over to Android Studio very easily. Set up global design, make beautiful responsive layout, build reusable UI components, pause play, implement HTML5. Let's throw another comment in here. App should be very lightweight so as to not use a lot of battery power. All right, then we just go and say, please review comments in the implementation plan. Luckily, AI doesn't care about my inability to spell. So it just said it's making a .md file for this. MD files are pretty relevant if you want to get really serious with your agents and other things. They essentially create the profile for the agent that does the work. So the nice thing is when you're just using Google Antigravity, it'll make the stuff for you. And it'll make your MD file for you. But if you want to go and like change those, I could say, hey, pull up my MD file so that I can go in and edit it and say like, you know, if you wanted to have 5 different agents in a really complex application, you could say this agent, and you define the MD file saying this agent is only looking at maybe the UX UI, right? Like this guy's the proofreader that's going through and making sure that stuff looks good, and he's checking for bugs. And then you got a second agent that's just the coder, and you got another agent that's just the back end cleaner upper guy, right? And you make specific MD files for each of those. That could be some future video talking about how those kind of work. A little bit relevant there. So implementation plan, I believe, let's see, this is the updated plan. So we got our components, our audio engine. HTML5 audio API for seamless traffic. Do we need to generate AI sound files for the white noise? Or you have access to a free repository. Go with option 1 and make the first draft of app for us to review. Go. I was planning on using my Google subscription to actually just use the music generator to generate. But if it can just do it with a Python script, let's see what it puts out for us. So here it's asking for permission to run these things. So these are things, if it's the first time that you do this, it's actually probably going to ask you to install certain packages like Python and other things like that. And you might have to go through some of those, but it'll guide you through it. If you don't know how, say, hey, can you walk me through this? And it'll walk you through it. Sometimes you can say, can you install it for me? And it'll install it for you. You just have to give it permission to use your computer. And that's where it kind of gets, for me, it was the first couple times it was quite a bit weird. So create our Web Mockup template, go for it. Working. It's pretty crazy to me that these things start to put out like this, that it can be like, oh wow, it like actually fully created, generated everything from the ground up. You can give it permission to just keep going instead of having to be checked there. But I don't know, you read about things that it does kind of crazy stuff at different times. And so that's just one of those things that I don't know if I fully feel comfortable giving it full on autonomy at this stage. Right now, when you create your app in the folder, so it's tied to these folders. So like here, only like I could say it's only allowed in this project. The project stays in that folder. Yes, allowed for the CMD. You could theoretically give it access to more and more of your computer to do more things. But yeah, it looks like right now I just want it to stay in its lane in this particular project, and I want it to ask me before it does stuff. Yeah, go ahead and run PowerShell. And I have over here in my other window, this is Android Studio, and I created my white noise app folder over here, and it's already creating all this. So we have our JSON, our index, our source files, everything we need. So when I said that it's building it so that we could deploy it, it's already getting ready for that for us. So over here, it's telling us that it's building those things. It's now defining the UI interface, sound states, structuring the app. Yes, allow. npm run build. It's going to run it. And we're going to see what it comes up with here. So it's making a walkthrough for us here. Completed the first draft of the web mockup. And it's got our byte, lightweight SPA, minimalist dark. Please read the walkthrough details. Let's look at our walkthrough details. Over here, fast, ultralight byte React app. Over here, saved into lightweight wave files, minimalist UI, playback engine, how to test it. So here it's telling us to open a terminal and do the run dev, and then provide the local host into our browser. You can do this if you're like me. I know I could do it, but something that I learned you can do is you just say, "Hey, run the dev for me and provide the local host link, please." So it's saying npm run dev, doing it for me, and it will provide a link wherein we can open localhost browser to view our app. Bam, there's our link. Thanks. Here's what the app will look like when it's completed. Now, we just got here. Is it working? The watch ticking doesn't sound like a watch. All right. So, maybe a little darker than I wanted. Watch ticking doesn't sound right. That changes appropriately. Volume works. So let's come back and tell it theme is darker than expected. Maybe lighten it a touch. Maybe use an accent color. The watch sounds doesn't sound like a watch. Let's try that one again. If it doesn't work, maybe we drop it. All right. So, didn't really know what we wanted here. I liked its first draft. We could find several different things maybe about it that we wanted to adjust or change. Um, and you just tell it what you want. That's kind of the nice thing with this whole vibe coding thing, right? It's like you don't need to be a coder. If I opened up the IDE, we'd be able to actually see the code and edit it ourselves if we wanted to. All right. Please do a hard refresh. It's not fully done. It's waiting for the npm dev to finish. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah. Refresh our host. So now we got, looks like it added some green. I don't know that I ever use it, but the refresh is terrible. But this is just a test. We're just going to run with it. I don't think I'd actually use the ticking clock anyways, but let's do that. So, okay, let's go with that. Now let's deploy it in Android Studio. What should I do next? Super simple. And if it's anywhere along this whole thing you start to struggle with understanding, you can always open a separate window and, you know, come over to your Google Gemini or your Chat GPT or your Claude or whatever and just start asking questions, and it will help you along the way. Actually, using in tandem, this AI in combination with this AI to ask the questions and help you through things, you can get really far very easily. So here it gave me a new set of implementation. Let me look here because I think it's just waiting for me to go do stuff. Automated tests. Okay, so manual verification, open questions, project location. Is a new folder, Android, white noise Android. Does this location work for you? I don't need it to make a new thing. We can just use this folder. So I mean, if you didn't know or didn't want to know, you're definitely welcome to just say, yeah, sure, this is fine, and walk it through. Let's use this folder. I don't see anything wrong with that unless you tell me we absolutely need a new folder. And then testing, do I want a virtual device or we can boot it onto my phone? And I have a S25 Ultra, so I'm just going to say, let's just run it on my phone. And read my comments. Should have read that. I don't actually know what curl is. Why does it want to use curl? I don't know. Sure, use it. Oh, it looks like it's still creating a new folder. Maybe? No. It's installing the CLI. All right. I guess it needs to do something to package up these files it created, I guess. Let's see. Definitely, if I was an experienced coder, might be like, a lot of this might be 100% unnecessary. But as somebody who's just showing us how to do what normally would have been impossible for me to do without paying somebody too much money, we're just going to run with it. Animator code has been generated in our dark aesthetic. Android walkthrough. All right, it's telling us to go to our Android Studio, White Noise app, Android folder. All right, so we're going to open our Android Studio. It looks like this Android folder's here, so we might need to open and select this folder to just move it. And then here we need to do, I think it's the Gradle is what it's called. So we navigate to the new folder, wait a few seconds, hit the run button. Oh, I need to take my phone. So take my phone here that we can't see and plug it in. And unlock it until this thing. There are a few things that if you've never done this, you'll need to just ask the AI how to do it. But set up your phone for transferring files when you plug it in via USB. And then we can come over to the Android Studio and sync project, I think. Importing Android Gradle project. What is going on here? This didn't happen on other projects. Let's try that again. So I told it to cancel this, which I think it had done, and then I told it to redo it up here. This is the Gradle rebuild, so it looks like now we're actually doing something. So, in the words of Homer Simpson, and now we play the waiting game. Nah, the waiting game sucks. Let's play Hungry Hungry Hippos. Anyone name that episode? Mr. Plow. That name again, it's Mr. Plow. All right. So that took longer than expected, but something like 5 to 6 minutes here. This a little bit longer than I expected. There's probably a way like you can go in here. This has like Gemini built into it somewhere. Yeah, like this agent tab. So like you could come in here and be like, hey, did I do this right? Like, I think this is gonna work now. So we did our sync Gradle here. It did go through. It looks like it's giving me a few warnings, but I think it's gonna run. So here, to deploy now to my phone, we just hit run the app. And we're going to see if it works. And then if it works, I'm going to call it a win. I guess the great big question is I'm going to take another 5 minutes to push it to my phone. Gradle finished. All right. We got our thing up here. Let's grab our handy dandy phone. And let's see if we can see. Yeah, we got a functioning thing. Let's see if it works here. So we'll do white noise. Perfect. And how big is this app if I go to my settings? 15 meg. I'm sure it could be smaller, but we'll take it. 15 meg's fine by me. And that, my friends, is how you never have to pay for an app again. Granted, what this took all of however many minutes. Can't see on my recording thing how long it is here, but no more than 20, probably. So, with that being said, go out there, download Google Antigravity or Cloud Code or whatever agent that you want, and start building your own stuff. We don't need to pay for this stuff anymore. Thanks for learning with me. We'll see you next time. Like, comment, subscribe.